CALLERLAB Convention, Colorado Springs, 2007. I'm John Marshall, and I'm one of the moderator panelists / participants in the newer caller Birds of a Feather session, and Ken Ritucci is here to help me with that. He's an accredited caller coach with CALLERLAB, and this is generally an open forum type approach. It's not a panel presentation. The intent is to welcome callers that are newer callers and or brand new, doesn't matter. How you define newer caller, I guess, is problematic. Last year we actually more or less specified 5 years and under, but not a problem. It's fine. Certainly we have Trevor here who's been calling a few more years than that, and I don't know how long you've been calling. So
I turned in my beginner application in about 2001, 2002.
Okay, so 2001 and 2. The way we try to treat this is as an open discussion, answering questions that newer callers have on just about any topic you can get into. But the only thing we don't talk about is somebody else's ethics. Otherwise, we're open to discussion on anything you would like to talk about, whether it be teaching or getting classes or fee structures or, where it's wide open because you never know with newer callers what things they've encountered or not encountered, or how do they deal with certain things that might happen. So we would open it to open discussion, right? And of course, if you do have questions or concerns, we'll ask you to address them to the microphone because they are recording the session, as so often happens. I'm not exactly sure why they're recording this particular session, but there's always somebody interested somewhere along the line, and there may be some newer callers who would like to have come to this and couldn't find the time. There may be another Birds of a Feather session that they prioritized, so that we will go ahead and allow the recording to run, and we'll go from there. Did you have a question or comment or interest? And if so, come up and tell me so.
I'm Cynthia Schrader from Antigo, Wisconsin. One of the things that I have recently come across as a newer caller, the new club I helped start a few years ago is struggling get new people in. We started out by tapping into the homeschooled classes. There was a group of them that thought they could use the lessons time to earn a Phi-Ed credit, and we had a huge turnout for that, like 6 squares. It included not only the students but their families, parents, or whatever that would come along. And we didn't put a big limit on age. We went down as young as about 8 years old. So my club has some very young, average-based students in it, members. On the average, I think I've got between 20 and 22 is the age that I have for members in my club, and we have about 20 to 30 active members. Now that's what has stayed with the club over the last 2-3 years. Basically 3 families coming over and over again, and then calling the rest of them to say, are you coming to the dance on Sunday? And getting them around, picking them up if they needed rides because some didn't drive and things like that. But being a newer club and also on the edge of our association, it was hard to get somebody to come from further away. Some of the closest clubs were about an hour away from where we were located, and I think that maybe why the original club in that town had folded was they were kind of in between associations and couldn't get the visitors to come in and help support. And of course, we as a new club started out by, let's go visit this one in Green Bay or that one in Appleton, and trying to, and of course, being homeschoolers, they didn't do a lot of traveling either. So it was only a few of us that would go do the traveling, maybe about a square and a half. I guess the question I have is, they have suddenly come up to me, I'm their club caller, and said, well, we're all struggling to be here every time we have a dance. And until further notice, because it was started out as a club-run dancer run club, they said, we'll call you the next time we want to have a dance. So I've suddenly gone from 2 dances a month with them to on call. I don't know exactly how to encourage them to keep up the scheduled dances. And is there something I can do to help promote the membership in the club? I mean, besides my not living in the town where the club is, I live 45 minutes to an hour away. I think putting ads in a paper in a town where they have to call me long distance is kind of futile. I mean, futile? It's just hard to know what to do in a situation like that.
Is there somebody in that group that would be a local contact for them?
That's what I've been using, is this particular family as the local contact number.
And you haven't been able to really expand beyond this family? Sounds like a big group of...
The active ones, no.
Okay.
Are the active ones all out of the same family, or is it just the one family that's been doing the kind of the legwork for you?
Yeah.
One family doing the legwork. Have you run more classes? Okay, but I mean, most recently you ran one in the recent year, and you had students.
Well, not this year.
Okay, all right. Do some of your, since they're homeschoolers, have some of them basically gotten of an age that they've gone away to school, college, whatever, right? And sure, and there's not enough that have come on, younger ones that have come on to the group to come and take lessons. But were they actually getting the PI credit, the PE credit? Did it count?
I believe it did.
Okay, that's very good. That should be a helpful draw. But if it's a small enough community, then obviously it's a limited opportunity for just the homeschoolers. So you need to find a way to reach out to other people in that same community. And when you promoted your lessons before, did you promote it outside of the homeschool community or just within? Outside as well. Okay. Which basically would say to me, you're experiencing the same problem that so many callers, at least in the States, are experiencing. They're having a very hard time getting classes. They keep looking for ways, and the real success stories that I have heard have been people that have an existent club. The members have actually had to really turn to for recruitment and different ways of doing that. Now, one idea that I've heard that's interestingly successful and may give you an opportunity to keep up your calling skills and perhaps re-establish a club is to run a once a week or twice a week, maybe even just once a month, maybe all that can work, but an open party night dance for anybody who wants to come and dance. And it's not progressive. You know, you just run the dance, but there'll be...
Community dance thing. I went to that.
Okay, something like community dance is fine. You can keep it very simplistic. Let people have a good time. Anybody can come. Square dance tonight. You know, no experience needed. You'll get some people that'll come back. You'll get some that won't come back. You'll get some that at some point in time, in all likelihood, are going to say, well, can we do more? Do we have to only do this once a month, or can we do it more than that? And again, I would recommend like advertisements for that. If there's a local library that has a board where you can post it, local supermarkets, things of that nature. What facility do you dance in? Okay, so you make it known there, but not just there. And this could possibly stimulate some interest in developing a new class once they've seen what it's all about and have had fun with it. How small a town are we talking about? I'm just curious. Roughly. Yeah, and that's not a real big community to draw on for our activity in particular, because our activity has, I don't want to say limited appeal, because not enough people really know what we do. But it's hard getting that word out and getting people to come through. Another thing you might want to think about doing, and you might talk to Otto Wortman about this, he's been tremendously successful in working with local churches. And one of the key things there has been, you don't want to go to the church with the idea of saying, we're going to have, I'd like to have give you all a square dance evening, a fun dance evening, and you tell them all the benefits of square dancing, the unity, the couples activity, clean, all the things that we believe square dancing to be, and that's fine, but they cannot feel, nor should you, try to say we want to take people from your group to the group we're trying to create. You know, if they feel like you're coming to take people away from their group, they're not going to want to support you. But if you want to do something within that group, while it's there with all of those benefits that we've talked about, whether it be for their youth or for their young adults or seniors or families, any way you want to couch that, several of the churches might well do that. And even if it's only the opportunity to do it once a year, maybe.
I considered that in my own church.
Mm-hmm.
Approaching them as a youth group activity or something, but the facility does not have, it's got carpeting on the floor, it would be difficult to do the kinds of things that the kids would like to do.
I'm not sure I agree with you. And I say that because they don't know. What are they comparing it to? They're not comparing it to wooden ballroom dancing, wooden ballroom flooring surface. And the kids are much less likely to have a problem or concern about it than experienced adult dancers. So, and of course, then there's always the looking for another facility thing. But I understand. Oh, believe me, I well understand. Yeah, maybe, but you know, the answer to that is that you provide a roll of duct tape that they can put on the bottom of their feet. You tell them not to use tennis shoes to dance in if possible, and I don't get into recommending things like speed up or slow down on the carpet because some places are very touchy about you putting anything on their floors. But that's one way that you can approach it, or a little cloth with some silicone, a little piece of carpet with silicone spray on it, and they put their feet on that, and then it'll make the feet slide in pretty well on carpet, especially if it's low nap. This is danceable. It's not the best low nap I've danced on, but it would be doable. And again, the kids are less likely to be concerned by that, particularly if you're using music that they enjoy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're held prisoner by this family. It's, so to speak, you know. I mean, you're. Yeah. Right. It sounds like two things. One is I agree with John. Try to go back out and just start doing some fun nights and try to get maybe a new group of people, just some fun square dancing stuff. And the other thing is maybe go back to them and say, okay, can we do once a month or once every other month? Maybe it's too much of a commitment right now, but they might be willing to dance once a month with you. Try to keep them going, and yet try to build a new group so you're not so dependent on them. Because you know, if they're controlling all of this right now, you know, you're going to be at a loss, which is what you're at.
I was also coming to them this last month with an opportunity to do Folk Festival weekend in August, and they sounded enthusiastic enough to support that. So they were going to work with me, especially this one family with young men in it. So that sounds like fun.
All right.
Oh my, yeah.
But I'm still going to try and work with them. I may not be able to go and put up a booth, or if somebody else is willing to man the booth while I'm at the convention on Saturday, that's fine. And I'll come back and do their 1-hour presentation they asked me to do on Sunday, and they just make it attendees want to participate, make it participating.
Mm-hmm.
Make it so that I wouldn't necessarily even have to have a whole square there to
Okay.
dance because you bring people out from the door.
Let me inject one moment. Trevor, did you have anything you wanted to bring up for the recording? I'm going to go ahead and allow us to go off mic at this point because we don't have a large attendance, and you know, you have some specific issues that we can address that don't need to be recorded. And so I think we need to do that, and it'll most benefit you, and that's what I'd like to do. Okay? So I'm going to end that.